Here we go. There you go. So yeah, if you can all keep ourselves on mute, that'd be amazing. And during the session, if you can type any questions into the chat box or save them all to the end, that'd be fine. We'll cover all these off in the Q&A section at the end, and hopefully won't take up too much of your evening. So what we're going to cover the Club Spark system. Mark Dixon's going to take you through that in a moment. Carl's then going to follow up with a little bit on the Activator Training, update on that. I'll cover resources and marketing. Carl then have a look at the club shop and talk you through all the do's and don'ts of the club shop. We'll finish off with a Q&A. So if I can just pop you over to Carl. Mark, who's going to talk through the Club Spark system. Okay, Mark.
Okay, right. I've got the sexy part of the evening. Can you all see my screen? I'm now currently logged into Club Spark. Just a word of advice: we are going to show some live club data, so please try not to, or please don't take any photographs. On the recording, we'll try to blur out any of the personal information. Club Spark is our vehicle for setting up our programs and taking all of our bookings. I'm just going to run through the checklist and some updates that the ECB have very recently provided for us. They have been delayed somewhat because of technical issues. So this is my own personal club. So I'm going to just open up our checklist. At the beginning of the program, myself, Carl, Ian, and some of our senior managers might have registered your club so you could set up your program. You might have changed your key club contact details, and that was available in this area. We'll have a little look about the reviewing your activated checklist in a second. One of the updates that they've provided over the last couple of days is that you should be able to get a little icon there now that you can start uploading your documents. Don't worry if you can't see it at the moment. It's porting the updates through, so you might be able to see those in the next couple of days. That also includes your insurance certificate and your safe hands document. Some clubs had problems with Stripe. There's been massive global changes with the way that payments have been taken online. You might have found that over the last few days that you've been struggling to pay online with two-factor authentication. So Stripe are in exactly the same position. If you're unsure whether or not you're taking payments at the moment, please click on your Stripe icon there or log into your Stripe account. See if there's any notifications in there for you. But most clubs seem to be up and running at the moment. Look at, I've got my own personal activator checklist at the bottom here. This is something that's been updated very recently as well. Every individual activator, including yourselves, will see a different requirement for compliance. That might be your e-learning course that you need to take your course on and do your modules. The online refresher video went live yesterday, and as you can see, I watched that last night. That might be available to you to click. Carl will go through these. Safeguarding training, if you've already done a previous course with something else that you've got safeguarding for already, or we call SYC, that will automatically port back in and mark you as compliant. If that isn't available, that will be available in your e-learning modules as well. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with the training. Carl will take that on. What I want to show you is adding a new activator. Some clubs have come up to us and said, I'm trying to add an activator. It's really difficult. They just won't let me do it. Now, there's two ways that you can. I'm just showing Harden Park here, which is Ian's club. When I add an activator, you can either have a new contact or an existing contact. An existing contact is somebody like a parent that has booked in their child. So therefore, they're already on your existing contact list. If it's a brand new person, I'd start off with a new contact to see if you can book them on. If you can't get past that stage, I'd have a manual search for the name of the person, and they might already be in your list already. As I say, there's that process. There is a way of deleting activators, but if you do want to find out, don't forget to use the help lozenge down here, and you can search for different different sort of activities that you can do. Add activator, delete activator, what is the All Stars contact details. What we'll do now, we will pop into the programs, and I will just show you around some small updates that they've made this year. So I'm going to just pop into Harden Park's All Stars account now. So first of all, we've got our program set up. Everybody's really au fait with that. They can get themselves going. One thing that we've noticed on a national level is that this is the setup of the program, and Ian's looking for 500 people, so he looks like he's got plenty of space up the club, but you can actually add your capacity there. So if you really just want to cap your numbers based on what your capacity is, you can put that number in there. Similarly again, you know, the RRP is £40. Harden Park as well, they put an extra £5 on so they could earn a bit more money. But this is where it can fall down a little. The default start time is 6 o'clock in the morning. So please don't forget to scroll through to your actual start time. We've updated quite a few programs that are starting at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we've sorted everybody's for this year. When you set up your programs for next year, just be aware of that. You can also set your status to different levels. This one's public, so that's available to anybody when parents look for a search. If you feel that you're too full, you can go to a direct link only. And when people contact you, you can then copy and paste the URL and send that to the individuals. So there's not much more on ClubSpark, but we will talk about the compliance a little bit later on. And I am sure lots and lots of you have got questions that you want to ask about ClubSpark and its system. So please pop that into the chat or come forward when we do the Q&A. Compliance for this year for each club is 1 to 24. So lead activator or activator to the number of people that you've got signed up is 1 to 24. But then when you actually do your session, don't forget your ratio is 1 to 8. So you need to have responsible adults to help run your programs safely. So that is ClubSpark for now. I'm just going to stop sharing. I'll bring us back to Ian.
Thanks, Mark. I think Carl's going to talk about activator training now.
Yep, thanks, gents. So I am just going to share my screen. Hopefully you can see the club checklist. So this is what a new activator would see when they first sign into the checklist. Obviously, Mark has touched on the DBS check, and you'll see that it says I have a valid DBS check with ECB. Obviously, if your activators have already got a DBS or they've been coaching with the club, when you click on that, it asks you or asks the activator to either put in their national insurance number or their passport. Sometimes it doesn't always work, and another bit of advice would be to check that the information that the activators put into the system corresponds with what the actual DBS says. So, for example, their first name and second name, if that is different to what's on the DBS that they've done, that might not correspond. So, again, any issues with that, use the kind of the help desk and the chat box on the bottom right to try and navigate your way through that. But hopefully, if you click on that, I have a valid DBS, you either put in your national insurance number or your passport number, and that will hopefully correspond. Obviously, if they haven't got a DBS, then the normal kind of process going through your club welfare officer, obviously with the club go through the safe handles management system, ensure, going through that process. The next part then is your e-learning course, which is a 45-minute training course. And I will just flick across now. Okay, let's go here. So hopefully you can now see the e-learning website. So you've got your national program safeguarding and your national programs activator. Now, this is still not 100% live. Obviously, it's when they go live, the activators will be able to access them. And providing that the email addresses that they log in with on ClubSpark, again, correspond with the e-learning website, they will just work back and forth. So when you go back into ClubSpark, after completing those, like you've seen on Mark's checklist, you then have your green tick to show that you're done. Obviously, they are not live as yet. Okay. I'm just going to flick back into here. So if you've already got an ECB e-learning course account, then great. If not, then you would obviously use the create account button. And obviously the second one, e-learning, and the last one there, your safeguarding training. Again, they're on the same account. So once they're done, they will just turn green once they're completed. The two other key ones then for your new activators will be your virtual induction course and face-to-face training. So that will provide the training for your activators. And again, if I'll just share my screen. Okay, so once they click on book course for the relevant course, whether that's online or the face-to-face, the two differences is with the online, the activator does need to search for Cardiff. And when they search for Cardiff, click on that one there, you'll see that there are a variety of dates and times available to book. So the first one is this Thursday, 6 to 7:30.
Really thirsty.
So the activator would obviously click on to the relevant date and time, select, and then continue booking and go through that process. Once they've gone through that process, they'll then get a link for the Zoom meeting. Like I said, the first one is this Thursday. And I will just, if so that's the online. So you'd search Cardiff and you look at we've got 6 currently. Obviously the first one is this Thursday. The face-to-face then is more kind of based around closer location to the activator. So for example, say we were to use so I think is we'll just type in Kamal then. Oops, sorry. So you'll see there that, I mean, within 20 miles of Carmarthen, you've got 2 workshops. So these are your face-to-face, which they highlight here. So if you've got Thursday, 28th of April, sorry, or you've got Gowerton on the 25th. So again, same process. You'd click, the activator would click through, select, and book. And obviously, we would then follow up with information around the evening and what that entails. Okay, and then for existing activators, so sorry, let me just go back to this. So club checklist, so this is for your new activators, that's what would show for them. Your existing activator would be similar to what Mark would share just now. The new refresher video, which Mark explained, it's about 15 minutes long, there or thereabouts. And again, it's a case of clicking on and the video pops up. And once that's done, it turns green. Just a bit of content around what the online induction entails. So it's lots of scenario, based kind of chat around the group, and just lots of content and what entails an activator to be successful in running All Stars and Dynamos. And it's just a good way of getting them into the course. And then with the face-to-face, we give activators the option of whether they are providing All Stars or Dynamos training. And again, we would have different groups on that night, with the activators given a 5 or 6 minutes to kind of just deliver a quick session, have a go session amongst the group. And again, it's a good way of just having a go and looking at all the different elements around the All Stars and Dynamos program. And I'm going to hand you back to Ian.
Thanks, Carl. Cheers for that. I think Mark just wants to show us something very quickly on Club Spark. That's basically getting hold of parents' data and how to email parents. Mark, I think you're on mute, Mark.
I am, yes.
There you go.
I talk so fast, I probably missed this out. So I'm just going to take us back to Club Spark a second. And I want to show you, most clubs probably know this already, but a great way of communicating with your parents, downloading your registrations, and whether or not you can find new parents to become your next activators. So I'm just going to open up one of the sessions here. Let me make sure that is opening. Yes. So Harden Park's got a good number of attendees. This will open up shortly. Just give me a second. Okay, so hopefully you already know this, but you've got all of the the registrations there. If you tick that box and you go to email attendees, you can send a quick message to the whole group that's registered for those activities and that program, and give them information, whether or not there's information about where you arrive, who to ask for, if your session is going to be called off because of rain. But another really good tool is if the second one is export to CSV. I'm not going to export it to show all of the data, but the last column when you open up the spreadsheet will show one of the questions that's asked on the booking as to how the parents can get involved. So it's a really good idea to download this once you know your course is full, so you can do some direct contact with the parents to ask them whether or not you said you'd like to be involved in sessions, be doing some things around the club, and then you can get these parents then to help you as well. So hopefully most of you already know about that, but it was good to share. I'm just going to tap back into Carl's comment about the existing activators as well. I've just downloaded the link for the existing activator refresher video as well. This, I'm just going to play a small part of it. But when you do click on that, it'll take you to a video channel that will go through
national
all of the information that the existing activators can
Firstly, a massive thank
access.
you for being one of over 10,000 activators across the country. They've given hundreds of thousands of kids a fantastic first experience of the game through both All Stars and Dynamos cricket.
Last year saw over.
So that's a small snippet of the existing activator refresher video. So I'm going to just stop sharing now, and we'll go over to Ian.
Thanks, Mark. Cheers. All right. On to resources and marketing. Sorry, hang on. Bear with me one moment. There we go. So yeah, I'm going to look at resources marketing now, just for a few minutes. Won't take you too long. We're gonna go initially to the resource hub, which hopefully you've all got access to. If not, we'll pop the link into the chat box so you can all save that to your favourites. But this is where you'll find all of your marketing resources. not just for national programs, but anything to do with cricket. So that'll be the first one we look at. Then we're going to have a quick look at iCoach cricket, and there's a few updates on both of those. So just going to take you now. Hopefully you can all see that. So this is the resource hub. So we'll pop the link in. You just need to request access to it if you haven't got it, and it normally comes through within 24 hours. So first of all, we're going to search All Stars. There we go, in my recent searches. And everything to do with All Stars pops up. And this year, it looks like we've got much more images, better images and better videos for us to share on social media, or want to print these out, use them as posters. Lots and lots of resources down here. A really good one this year, additional this year, is the font and also the editable posters, whereas last year, if you wanted to edit your own poster and put your own time and date, you had to send it off and be approved by the ECB. Well, this year they've listened to clubs and said, right, this year we want to be able to edit our own posters nice and quickly. Just download that one. Hopefully you can all see that, and then we can pop in there. So using the same font, so it all looks really professional. Pop your session dates in, and say that can be used on social media or printed out as a poster. So there we go. So that's everything All Stars. Lots and lots of content there for us to use. I personally like the All Stars and Dynamo's dual logo. That's really good. And the PNG files and JPG files, so you can just transpose those over. Design your own things as you go. Also on here, you've got the countdown. So 3 weeks to go, 1 week to go. If you want to get that on social media, send it out to everyone. You drum up a bit of interest in your local programs. There's the ECB handbook 2020-2021 there, a little bit dated. Email headers, lots, and we'll have a look at the Welsh content in a second. So yeah, there's lots and lots of things, all things All Stars. Dynamo's exactly the same. Say the font is a really good addition this year. Say lots of downloadable, editable posters and leaflets. So really, really good stuff there. Let's quickly have a look at. So if we're using the Welsh language to promote our programs, you just type in Welsh into here, into the resource hub, and bring up anything to do with anything that's got any posters that got Welsh language on it. Everything pops up there, which is good at the ECB, in fairness. That's excellent. And then just finally, we'll have a quick look if we want to get certificates. You can still find these on sorry. You can still find these on your Club Spark, but if you're on here, it's a little bit easier. Download your All Stars certificate, your Dynamo certificate, which the kids, they absolutely love, don't they? So that is the ECB Resource Hub. If you haven't got access to this and you want to promote your programs, this is a must-have for you. I'm going to have a quick look at iCoach Cricket, and firstly All Stars on iCoach. So once logged in, and anyone can have access to iCoach. You don't need to be a coach or anything. You get access to the All Stars and Dynamo's program content. So it's all laid out. We can download the session cards week by week. I believe they're changing. I think Mark was saying before, they're changing the colouring on that so that it's not using up all of your colour on your printer. So it should be a lot easier to print out this year. So you've got the 6 weeks. Sorry, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, and we saw 6 weeks. 8 weeks of content, which is awesome. And we've also got lots and lots of other content. We've got wet weather sessions, which I think could be on the next page. There they are, down at the bottom. We've got some real good ideas to what to do wet weather hits rather than just cancelling. And then we've got some at-home drills. And then also how to engage the adults and how to manage groups, which I think, again, that might be on the, there it is, engaging adults video and managing groups, which are really useful, especially any new activators to the game. Be really useful for them. And then Dynamo's cricket, again, they've got the 1 to 8 weeks. Sessions all laid out for us. You can have them on your phone or on your app or print them out. And then we've got the using Countdown Cricket app to score Dynamo's cricket, which is really useful video. And then a really good addition this year is the tips and tricks to deliver Dynamo's cricket. So there's a quick whistle-stop tour of the Resource Hub and I Coach Cricket. We'll just take you back here. So now onto marketing. So what are Cricket Wales and ECB doing? Well, we're in local schools, we're delivering assemblies, roadshows, taster sessions, which we're linking to localised programmes at each club. We're promoting across social media platforms using an external company we engage with. And then the ECB main central marketing is in full swing, so TV, radio, and they communicate with previous attendees. So what can clubs do? Communicating with last year's parents and with all club members is a key source of where you get your sign-ups from. Members of your own club you might not necessarily thought be interested in All Stars and Dynamos. You never know, they might just have a relative or a friend who is interested, a sibling, cousins who you weren't aware of. They might just sign up, so it's a good one to tap into. Having a social media presence, we found, has been one of the key drivers at those clubs that have big numbers. So if you're in a position where you'd like more children in your sessions, this can really make a difference, especially the use of Facebook. So posting, sharing content with other local groups and organisations, not just sports clubs. Many clubs have had positive responses from other groups. And one club contacted a local gardening club, for instance, on Facebook. They had a strong following. And that gardening club, they did a post promoting All Stars for the club. And that post alone, they had over 30 sign-ups. So it's not just sports clubs that you can help to ask. One tip there would be, wherever possible, to communicate with the page admin of the group rather than just sending a cold post. You'll end up with a better response. If you can get their buy-in and build up rapport, I'm sure you'll get more from it. Other things that you can look to tap into social media-wise would be school PTA pages. That's another good one to look at, and maybe no reason why you couldn't ask them to put the programme in the school newsletter. We've seen that in the past, and that's had big success. Other sports clubs, such as Cubs or Brownies, other local groups, anything you can find have decent following on social media, and help you promote your programs is going to be helpful. And then another thing, if you considered having an advert on social media, just a £10–20 budget for a Facebook boost, that could make all the difference. Okie dokie, so that's resources in marketing. I'll hand you over to Carl for the club shop.
Yep, cheers, Ian. I'm just going to share my screen. So hopefully you can see the All Stars cricket shop. Before there were two separate websites. So you had allstarscricketshop.co.uk and dynamoscricketshop.co.uk. It is just all on one page now. And also you've got your links for your All Stars and your Dynamos. Okay, so up in the top right hand corner here, you see it says you have free kit waiting for you in your cart. That will go active once you hit the sign up threshold. So for Dynamos, it is 10 participants for one kit bag. And then it goes up 36, 72, 108, and 144. And obviously, once you reach your 10 with All Stars for new clubs. So for existing clubs, you'd look to use the 3 bars here. So you've got participants, so where you can buy individual participant kits. So someone's lost their bat, and or you want to, you just want to look again at some extra individual kit, you have these here. Obviously, you've got all sales bats, which are coming soon. You've got activator apparel. So again, good idea if you've got. So I'll go through the amount of money that the clubs will have in their credits. It's a good idea to sometimes use that towards getting T-shirts or I mean, apparel for the activators, make them look the part. And again, a few things discontinued in there. There's one thing coming soon, the shorts. You've got some new kind of activator quarter zips, so some nice stuff in there. And then you got your club equipment, which they've added some new things into it this year. So you've got a new ball bag, mesh ball kit bag. Obviously, you've got these medals coming soon, which may well be a big hit. Again, they're coming soon. There's no date as yet, but again, think about how you use your credits, and then the same with dynamos. So in terms of club equipment, so there will be you've got bats, tees. Obviously, the balls coming soon, and the medals. Again, I mean, good use of kit, which is new for 2022. So I'll just take you through to the account that I use. So you'll see there that on the right-hand side, my store credit is £2. So based on sign-ups at my club, that was 160, and I've recently used 158 pounds for kit. So again, a variety of things: T-shirts for activators, tennis balls, wind balls, new bag. So what the credit does, depending on how much you select within your shop, in your shopping cart, it'll automatically take that off. So as an example, I had 160, 158 was taken out, and then obviously £2 went back into the credits. So it does it automatically for you. The key thing is the person who does this, whether it's yourself as club lead, it's the person who's on the Club Spark system as club lead will be the person who has access to this, and they should have, or already should have, a link for you to set up your account, which then links into the club lead contact. So make sure the person within your Club Spark on the lead contact is the person who has access to the shop. Obviously, they will have a link to, if you haven't already done so, a link to register. As it says at the top, key point there, please allow 48 hours your kit store credit to be added to your account. So if you haven't gone in there yet, and you know you've had sign-ups, and you should see some credit. When you do sign in and you go to your account, obviously I've been in here for a little bit, so it does take a minute or two. Obviously mine shows up there quite straight away. It can take a minute or two for the store credit to appear, so don't panic if it doesn't show. If you're the main contact and you've had the link and you've registered, you will see your store credit down the bottom there. Okay, that's it. Back to you, Ian.
Apologies, Carl. Yeah, just looking through the chat box, lots of questions coming through, which is great. Thanks, Carl. Yeah, so what have we got? 7 minutes left, but we can extend if you guys can, for sure. Any questions? Mark, do we want to cover off any in the chat first?
Yeah, I think it might be a good idea for everybody to open the chat. I've been answering questions while the presentation's been going on.
Yeah.
We will be able to record the chat, the questions when we save the video as well. And just to give you an overview, Delith, so new activators don't have to do face-to-face. They can opt for virtual or face-to-face. Now, new activators have to do the whole program. So it's the online induction, the face-to-face, the e-learning, get the DBS done. So unfortunately, there is the full program that's required. just for new activators. I think in Wales, we found that there was about 170 new activators from May last year till now. So, you know, we do need to see how we can get those new activators booked on courses. And that's hopefully as leads in your club, you could be that person to help market, get onto your Club Spark account, have a look at what training you need, because they can self-service themselves then as well. There was a question from Ray and Mackin, I believe. Last year we had problems setting new dates. If a session was postponed through rain, the programs are hardwired in Club Spark, so that contact the parents option is the way that you will communicate and tell them about any rain delays, add in an extra date. So that's your method. You can also download the spreadsheet and then you can communicate with them direct from your own email address as well. Put the link in for the resources hub as well. Michael, some of the parents have informed me that they are having issues signing their child up and mentioned they're unable to put their children's schools. No Wales schools listed in my area. Any idea why this is? Let us know which schools they are. We can feed that back to the ECB. The schools isn't really a measurable part of any of our criteria. It's a nice to have for reporting, but if a child just chooses any school and they book onto your program, we're not really worried about that. I'm having difficulty uploading the first aid certificate. The updates only just happened yesterday, so please just bear with the system for a couple of days. If you're really having problems, we'll communicate with you direct. And even if that's a case of you just emailing them through to us at a later stage, but just still try to go in over the next couple of weeks to do that. I've tried to send a direct link direct to new activators, and all of them said the link doesn't work and they can't register. So a direct link to a training session will send you to your Club Spark login page. So you really need to add people as activators first. So hopefully that will sort that out, Laurie. But if not, give us a shout. If they're already on Club Spark and then they can't access the links, that's more of an issue, but they really need to be on Club Spark first. Is it possible to get contact details from previous year's attendees? Yeah, go into your programs. So if you go into All Stars and you can see this year's program, there's a little drop down box just above. You choose that, choose completed programs, and then you'll see the last few years of your programs. Go into one of those programs. You can access the contact list, send them an email. We have some teenagers who would like to take part as well. Yep, get them onto Club Spark, get them trained up, and they can help. There was a question there about having young helpers under 16. It is possible, but they then become part of your ratio. So you still need a responsible adult to make sure 1-to-8 ratio works. One way around that, whether or not it's a technical one, you could sign up to a free iCoach Cricket account so everybody can see the videos. So they're prepared to help you, but don't forget they're regarded as minors, even though that they might be helping. Do we know how much the medals will be? Carl, no idea yet?
No is the answer. I'll add it to my list of questions because I've already been asked this as well. So,
how do we? Yeah, we'll find out. That's a brand new item, isn't it? How do we delete old activators? Do you really want to know? Do you have to delete them twice? So first of all, you've got to go into your activator list, edit their profile, take all of their roles away, and save that. Then you've got to go into contacts because they're in your contacts as well. Open their profile again, delete all their roles, and then you can delete them. Have a go. If they're still there, doesn't matter. Don't worry about them. Clubs that have been active for a few years really could do with new free POS. Is that point of sale? Ours is now debunked and we don't generally have enough income to buy more. Caroline, could you tell us what a POS means?
Yeah, it's point of sale. You know when you first start the like sales and the things that you put out to sort of so they can be seen from afar. They just get battered in.
Oh, right, your banners, the banners
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
everything.
flags.
We've got nothing, and we generally only get about 40 all stars, and we don't create enough income to get more.
Okay. Don't really have an answer for that, Caroline. They are going to be available to buy. They are fairly expensive. Do you have any local clubs that might have additionals that you maybe, can swap over some equipment with?
I can speak nicely to Mr. Martin.
Have a chat to Ian. I'm sure he can help you out. He's probably got loads.
Oh, he probably has.
But that might be the only way to maybe sort of link up with another club that have got too many, because I know they sent out quite a lot of Dynamos ones last year, more than we need generally.
Yeah, we don't actually do Dynamo. That's the problem. But no,
Okay.
okay. No, thank you.
Yeah, have a chat with Ian. I'm not sure what other questions we've got. Why are 3-year-olds allowed to sign up when the age is advertised 5 to 8 years old? That's quite an interesting question. There's no age cap on the Club Spark system. Some clubs have taken 4-year-olds, but it's a massive red flag as a lead. You do need to run your reports to see if somebody signed up that's too young. They can always be recredited and cancelled off. As a lead, I think it's probably a good idea just to review your signups just to be sure. Download the spreadsheet. Do apologize, but that age check isn't in the Club Spark system at the moment. The system does not recognize the date of birth, so yeah, that's the same question, so I do apologize. Is it possible to change the standard fee of the sign up for the All-Stars session? For example, if clubs willing to help fund the sessions. Personally, I don't know the answer. I think you can reduce the cost. Is that right, Ian?
Yeah, you can reduce the cost to 35, I think, can't you? But that is it. Yeah, it's a funny one. It is a funny one. The only other way that I've heard clubs doing it, because this has cropped up quite a few times, and that is the clubs have sort of personally refunded them. So they've got hold of it. 30 parents who signed up, and they've asked them for their bank details, and they've refunded that. Yeah. Mark, I hope that answers the question there. I'm not sure that there's maybe a couple. You may have missed these, may not. I'm not sure. Brilliant job that, by the way, Dixie. But I've got one from iPhones. More info on the child's age. I think. Not sure if that was covered, but that is in when we download that CSV file. That is in the date of birth of every child who signed up to your session is there, so you can work out what school year you're in. And then iPad, iPad 108, whoever that is, apologies. How about 15-year-olds who become 16 during the season? There's no harm in them helping out at all. We do at our club. It's fantastic if a 15-year-old wants to help out. The children in All Stars especially, they're more likely to listen to a 15-year-old than they are to a middle-aged man like myself. So I'd say 100% get them involved. But one thing we've got to be, a couple of things we need to be aware of is, one, as soon as they hit 16, and we can DBS them, so we must do that if we can. And two, anyone under the age of 18 will count as a child in your session. So in that 1:8 ratio, adult to children ratio, they will have to count as a child who's under the eyes of the law. Even at 17 years old, they are still classed as a child. So just a couple of things to note on that one. But yeah, 100% get them involved. And I know in the North, we encourage 15, 16-year-olds to come on the All-Stars Dynamos Activator Training sessions. So yeah. Anything else on there? Sorry, any more?
I think there's one more question from Shauna. Hi, Shauna. Certificates about being editable. We'll have to have a little check on that, but some basic software can actually sort of overlay the text of the names, but we'll have to investigate and let you know on that one. Laurie, you've got your hand up. Do you want to come forward?
Yeah, just a couple of things. One is if you hit the maximum level of children that have booked on, and then you're really struggling to get activators from anywhere, how do you then run off the ratios? Would you then have to try and take a few children off to make sure you hit the ratios? Or I'm really struggling to get people as volunteers to help out now I've hit my top target. So that's my first question.
Yeah, I'm not.
No
I
answer to this one.
Just something Mark touched upon earlier with so when you download the spreadsheet of the parents of who's willing to help, and I think that's.
I've begged, borrowed, and stealed from everybody in the area, 15-mile radius. I've asked the parents, I've asked people in the schools, I've asked people in the club. I'm literally sort of, I'm really worried about that now. Because we've only got 6 weeks to go. I'm going to try and keep pushing, but I just wondered, is there an alternative? If I can't find enough, what do I do then? The other question was with the when you've got the ratios, so you've got one activator per 24, and then when you say helpers for ratios, are these just helpers from parents that haven't got to go on a course, haven't got to have a DBS, they're just there in the background, is it?
Yeah, you can have helpers over 18 for 3 weeks, and then you need to then get them onto Club Spark and get it, or at least get them a DBS.
Okay.
So that is the stopgap. Coming back to your first question, have you thought about splitting the group into 2 days and then have half on one day and half on another day? So then that doesn't impact your obviously your activator.
Yeah, I have done, but the problem I've got then is actually having access to the ground on another day. That the only day that we've got the access on times is a Friday evening between sort of 5 and 6. That's the only time I've been given, so I can't even split it on another day and make the activators do almost 16 sessions, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I've looked at all sorts.
Yeah, you might want to try to see if you can scrape another half an hour, because you could make it a 45-minute session, and you can go session 5 to 4, 5:45, and then 5:45 to.
Oh, I see. The other thing quickly before I'm obviously taking the floor here a little bit. When you said about the date of birth, if I've got some that are 4-year-olds. Can I take 4-year-olds, or was it a case of no, just take from 5-year-olds and take out the 4-year-olds and email the parents that have tried to book children on with that age?
Yeah, I think that's a club decision. You can, but if you feel that that's too young to manage, you've every right to say, I'm really sorry, we can't take your booking. We'll contact the All Stars help desk and they'll refund them.
Right, okay, cool, thank you.
Thanks, Laurie. iPhone, whose iPhone?
It's me.
Oh, Rebecca.
Yeah.
You.
I know I can pick your brains about this another time, but you told me just a moment ago, because I was hiding incognito in my phone, that you can do that CVS download of information about, and I don't really understand how you do that. What does it do?
It basically downloads all of your attendees, their parents' contact details, and whether or not the parents are willing to help.
Where does it send that information when you click that button?
It goes into your downloads folder, and then you've got to pick it up and open it up.
Okay.
I'd open it up in Excel. A CSV file means comma separated variable, so everything just stays in the same size blocks, and then you can save it as an XLS file then. So
you just click all the first, that box, highlight everybody, and then click the CVS button, the middle one.
That's it. Yeah, it goes to your downloads.
Okay.
I'll show you all of that.
That's great. Thank you.
Got one more question here from James. How easy is it to refund people? We can't do it at our level. You can't do it at yours. The help desk email is the go-to place for that help. The ECB can do it. So it's allstarscricket@ecb.co.uk. Give them a bit of detail, tell them where you're from, and they can do that for you. Does anybody else want to come forward? I'm sure we've hogged everything tonight. I know we've answered lots of questions from the chat. Does anybody else want to come forward?
Anyone else have their phone up? Hand up.
I'm going to come back then because you're giving me a chance. Too slow. When I went on the Dynamos and All Stars shop for my club, it told me I had, I don't know how much money in there, and that if I just go on to, I went to buy it and the credit wasn't there, and it didn't accept, there was already a discount code in there and it wouldn't accept that discount code. And I have emailed the shop and said, or the ECB, and said, what do I do now? And nobody's come back to me.
Right. You've probably gone a bit further down the line than us on that, Beck, because we know that some clubs still can't see their credits. It's probably going to iron itself out. But yeah, wait for that email. Come back from the help desk if you can.
Okay. Thank you.
No problems. One final question in here. Why are All Stars balls full size, not juniors? Something to pass back to the ECB, I think. I can't answer that. I'm flummoxed. So
good question. I know the Dynamos have got different colour. The white ones are junior size and the pink are a sort of adult size, if you like. So yeah, good question. Something we can feedback.
Yeah. And Caroline, will Twinkle be around this year? I know most of our Twinkles have only got one eye and one arm left. We'll ask our senior managers. I think there's one in each area. So Caroline, Ian's your man again, and see if Twinkle still got two eyes and he can make an appearance again.
Yes, yeah. Get in touch, Caroline. She's fast asleep at the moment in the lockup, but we can drag her out. No problem at all. I
think as COVID measures have relaxed, then we'll be able to get out and about, and it's not going to be as constrictive.
Yeah, the children loved it. Seeing it just made it.
You realise you're going to go in Twinkle, aren't you, Caroline? You're going to have to be Twinkle.
Oh, not me. I'm far too big to get in that suit. No, it took it all to a new level. They had so much fun. So
yeah, we got somebody contesting you, Twinkle. Surely he's starry. Well, whatever you want. Stephen.
Hi, Mark. I just want to go back on this age issue with
certainly
signing up All Stars. We've got some 4-year-olds signed up, but they turned 5 during the session, so that's not really an issue as far as I'm concerned. The biggest concern I got is allowing 3-year-olds to sign up, and now I got to go back to the parents and explain to the parents why they can't attend. Surely there should be something in place which stops people of that age signing up.
Yeah, ClubSpark is not an ECB system, it's a third-party software, and it's part of the updates that they just haven't put in, and it is recognised. However, the ECB will take responsibility for communicating back to the parents and refunding them, even if they've had their equipment. So don't feel responsible that you need to take the ownership on that. If you highlight it and it's not right for you, the ECB will take care of that.
Well, we spoke about this obviously about a month ago, and I did have an email, I can't remember, might be yourself, might be somebody else, basically saying that I've got to go back to the parent and sort things out, which I assume the ECB would do it on my behalf, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Okay, we'll pass that forward and get a response from them for you, Steve.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Any more? One just popped in the chat.
Laurie, do you want to come forward again?
Laura,
Yeah, sorry guys, just going off the last question that I asked about ages. What happens then if I then go back and I have got some 3-year-olds on my spreadsheet that we need to contact to sort of say, look, your kids are too young, and I've already spent the money out of my shop? What happens there then? Does it go? Do I then owe the money back because I've already got the equipment here sat in the shed? Or does it go on to next year as a negative? How do we work that side of it?
Any refunds, they will automatically take that £5 back off the Stripe account, and you know, the ECB, they will just square off all of the money. So if you're buying any equipment in the shop, that's for your general purposes. You wouldn't probably get refunded on that because that's for everybody else. But with the Stripe purchase, they will enact the refunds and sort everything out.
Yeah, so if I've had £200 put in the account to use on equipment and I've spent the £200, but then I owe money back for people on a £40 return or 45, then I'm in negative equity in my club account, in my sort of shop account, if you know what I mean, not my club, but in the shop account from I've already bought the equipment and I've already received it.
Yeah, well, we're kind of going into very specific scenarios. So let us ask the question and see what happens with that. I don't think it'd be detrimental to you if you've spent it, because you know, I think it's only fair that you know, if you've spent it, that you don't have to then pay again. But we'll have to ask that question because it's very specific on that.
Okay.
Ian, do you want to take control again?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, if everyone's finished with the questions, and Sean has just a couple in the chat there, which I think I've answered. Yeah, I know storage is an issue. We'll end up with the 20 bags of dynamos. I personally, I think both programs are really good, and yet they do have one or two little issues, but I feel dynamos is a real good addition to All Stars, and just what we needed. I thoroughly enjoyed running it last year at my club, and hope you guys did as well. So thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. Really do appreciate your time, and above all, we appreciate the effort and time that you put in for your clubs, and I'm sure your clubs do appreciate you as well. So thank you ever so much, guys. And if you do need to get hold of us, myself in the north, Mark in the south east, and obviously you've got Carl, Kerry Chahal, and Steve Davis and Martin in the southwest. I'm sure that, you know, these guys, we're all here to help you and make a big success of the programs again this year.
Yeah, so great messages coming in saying thank you, but you know, mostly thank you to you as well for making your club programs so popular. Hopefully there's some support there for clubs that need to market more. Still got another 6 weeks to go. Some clubs got more, but you know where we are if you need some support.
Yeah, thank you all.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Guys.
Thank you.
Have you stopped recording, Ian?